I've always found it weird how VTubing is kind of like a genre and not just like a method of presentation.
Whether you're making YouTube videos or trying out streaming for the first time, it can be hard to get started and to make your mark in the virtual world.
You know what I always say, don't expect anything.
With so much competition going around, everyone is telling you to just go live for the first time or just publish your first video. But what happens after that? What worked for many from the early days of YouTubing is not gonna work now. The iPhone 15 has features that iPhone 10 didn't have. You just have to work a little differently in this fast-paced environment. Here's 8 things I would tell myself if I started content creation in 2025. These tips are useful for any kind of online creator that makes videos or streams, even if the examples I use are from VTubing. I'll split my learnings into 3 categories: the content, the creator, and the audience. There's 2 contrasting tips that are commonly said regarding content. Being a variety streamer is way too hard nowadays. Stick to a specific niche and try a lot of things and see what sticks. As you're starting out, this is your chance to experiment as much as you want, but it's also intimidating to know where to start because of the freedom you're given as an independent creator. If something's not working, you might want to switch over to something new ASAP, but here's the catch. It takes time for things to build up, and growth is not linear. Not every channel is gonna be a one-hit wonder. Not every video or stream you make will capture thousands of views, and that's okay. Split your content into buckets like growth, experimentation, and retention. Adjust the ratio depending on the stage of your content creation journey. In the case of newcomers, you want to focus on something like 75% growth, 20% experimentation, and 5% retention content. Growth content is when the idea is broad enough to attract attention that isn't specifically in your target niche. Consider making shareable evergreen content, but know that these videos can take weeks or even months before they start gaining traction. Thumbnail and titles are extremely important for these, so change them up if you feel like it's related to recent events or if the click-through rate is low. Shareable short-form content that can reach virality is also a good option, especially if you want to be recognizable at a glance. Experimentation content is like one-shot testing out the waters with something you're not entirely comfortable with, but also keeping doors open to push it into growth content if it does do well. It could be a new format you're going for or trying out a different niche you want to go into. Retention is content your audience is familiar with and wants to come back to see more of. This is the category I put my live streams under. Everything has been already done. What can you do to put your twist on it? If you like the way a content creator is doing things, give it a try, but don't outright copy them. None of my videos are new ideas. Heck, if you change this one from 2025 to 2024, I'm sure you'll get a dozen search results. But I wrote the script without referencing any of them and brought my own example experiences and editing flair. And speaking of editing though, I try not to put too much glamour on the viewing portion and instead try my best to improve the audible flow and storytelling. But these are all things you can only improve on by doing more and observing what works for you as the creator. If you're starting out as an indie VTuber, step away from your role models that are large content creators or corporate VTubers. I'll be upfront. Just streaming as a VTuber is not the way to go in 2025. Don't let streaming define you as a VTuber content creator. The model is a vehicle to help you make content, and streaming is only one way to do that.
More YouTube longs.
Your time is limited and the most valuable resource you have as a creator. Unless you're starting upfront with a big budget and a team of behind-the-scenes staff to help you manage, network, edit, clip, just streaming daily or multiple times a week to an empty or even a small audience will not help you grow. It's the stuff you do around that helps bring the audience in. How many times have you learned of a content creator because there was a clip of them you found funny? Whenever I stream, I get comments saying, "Hey, I found you from your TikTok," or "I came from your YouTube videos." You should be focusing on these additional efforts if you're starting out. Set a wide range of SMART goals. What are you trying to get to eventually, and what's a realistic way of getting there that you can get started on right now? If you do want to become a full-time streamer, take small steps that can get you there. Some long-term goals I have is to get up to 100k YouTube subs with 1,000 members from any source. That might sound like a lot of members at first, but it's actually only 1% of the following audience, which is not a bad ratio to strive for at that size. To get to 100k though, I need to first reach 5k subs. And to get that, I need to make content compelling enough for viewers like you to click on the subscribe button and look forward to upcoming videos. The more quality evergreen videos I produce, the more chances that someone would stumble across and click a video of mine. Again, growth isn't linear and tends to snowball, so while 1% of the 5K subs is 50 members, it's more realistic to aim for 5 members at this channel size. To get a higher chance of being noticed by the audience, you need to play the game social media imposes on you. YouTube was pushing live stream shorts heavily during early 2024, which is why you've seen so many corporate VTubers streaming vertical during that time. Twitch pushes streams that are over a certain length of time. I think it's like around the 3-4 hour mark. And these hidden requirements change so fast without notice. You need to use social media to your advantage to get as much exposure as you can because no one knows you exist unless you approach them. Whether that's through your content, ads, word of mouth. Some of these you can actively control and you should focus on those first. But don't just shove content to people. Engage in the community that you want to be a part of as well. Check out and comment on similar creators, join in on community events and memes, and don't think of it as competing with other content creators. You're helping each other grow the niche larger so that more people would funnel in and check out related content. It helps. It's on you as a creator to shape what kind of audience you want to have. This can mean setting up rules upfront on what behavior is acceptable or not, and to update it as the audience grows. If you only have 2 viewers in your live stream and one of them is making jokes that you're not comfortable at all, warn and block them if they don't stop, even if it means you're taking a 50% decrease in viewership. But hey, the audience should also be aware of general behavior when interacting with content creators, so be on the lookout for a future video of mine that covers this. And the biggest thing I learned and have to keep telling myself is to treat each content as its own thing. Always assume every video is the first piece of content a viewer stumbles across. Repeat stories and anecdotes, say your intro again, re-explain certain terms that might be confusing for first-time viewers. You want to make content that welcomes newcomers. However, you might also want to include tidbits of inside jokes that you develop with the community. These are things that acknowledge and respect long-time community members, but also make newcomers curious on what that's all about. August 19th, 2023. I purposely didn't cover anything related to hardware, software, supplies, etc. These things change quickly over time, so it doesn't really matter what I recommend today because upgrades and getting FOMO out of the latest products will always be there. Instead, think holistically what you want to get out of making content. Is it for personal achievements, building a portfolio so you can apply to agencies, or simply just because you're curious? Spend time at the beginning to learn what motivates you as a content creator and know that it might change as you progress on your journey. There are so many things I've learned about making content and I'll keep sharing them in my videos. Feel free to ask me any questions you want to know about on this topic. But first, let me ask you one question. Did you go live for the first time yet? If you liked watching this video, check out this one about why you don't need to debut as an indie VTuber, or this one that's recommended for you. Should I start mentioning that I stream on Twitch? So I need to start saying stuff like sub, follow, I joined my memberships. I need to start paying for my own ad placements.